Ravens at Falcons, Thursday night football. And the first game of the week is Marco's video best bet. Marco, what should bettors be looking at?
This is the biggest game in Atlanta Falcons for the last 10 years. We're going to find out Thursday night if they're a pretender or a contender. I'm going to tell you they're the real deal, and I'll explain why in the video.
So the pretender, contender, did you have that planned?
Well, I mean, that's a phrase you use at this time of the year.
Did you have it planned?
I had it planned, yeah.
Did you do it in front of the mirror?
No, I can go.
So yes, planned, not in front of the mirror.
No.
All right.
Would you go in front of the mirror with this mug? I figured I'd take the shot before you did.
All right. So let me jump in right there because ESPN has Baltimore as the #1 team with their most recent rankings. They have the Falcons #3. So if you listen to ESPN, the best team in the league against the third best team in the league. If you listen to Vegas, who Vegas has their rankings, Vegas says Baltimore's the 8th best team. So they're 7 spots overrated. And they say Atlanta is the 13th best team, 10 spots overrated. So combined, 18 spots overrated amongst two teams. That may be the biggest margin of overratedness I've seen in any matchup this year. Because really each week, 10 or so spots is usually the highest anyone's off between Vegas and ESPN. So it really is interesting. Vegas is saying Atlanta is a pretender, but you're seeing some really positive things. What is it that you're seeing that Vegas is missing?
Well, first of all, this game obviously is being played in Atlanta Thursday night. Matt Ryan, since he's come to the Falcons, phenomenal stat I'm going to give you. 17-1 straight up in the Georgia Dome. This guy, when he plays at home, he's on a different level. You've got Baltimore coming.
And with the line being
almost pick the winner, right.
All right.
Pick the winner, so we're going to look at that. You've got Baltimore. Now, when you said the stats there and how Vegas views them and how ESPN views them, I'm surprised at Baltimore. I'm not surprised that Vegas isn't giving Atlanta the due like ESPN. But Baltimore's been a public team from pretty much the get-go this year.
And remember, though, Vegas, when they do their rankings, are not saying this is what the line would be or this is public perception. We know public perception. That's the AP poll. That Vegas is. That's what gets confusing sometimes. Is yes, sometimes the line's going to be in between what Vegas believes to be the true line and the fair line, which we talk about sometimes. The true line is that line's going to split the results 50-50. Okay, a fair line is going to split the action 50-50. So let's say, for example, let's say we've got the Cowboys, and we'll be talking about them in another video. Is we have the Cowboys, and let's say they're overrated by 3 points. So maybe the true line in one of their games is going to be -3, and maybe the fair line is going to be -6. Vegas might put out 4.5. Because they don't always put out one or the other because they don't mind having a 1.5 of cushion where, everyone's going to want to play the Cowboys because they're getting 10-11 instead of 11-10 what the bettors have to lay. So, and that's a whole discussion, but specifically with the Vegas rankings, they're saying these are our power rankings. No consideration for splitting action. We're trying to split results, and we're saying that on a neutral field, if all we wanted to do was pick the winner, there's 7 teams that we would have favored over the Ravens. Now, does that surprise you?
I would put a few teams over top, but I don't think I would go 7 over because Baltimore, they've done everything that they're supposed to do this year. They're 6-2. Their 2 losses have come by a grand total of 8 points this year. And that's going to be a key point when I bring something up later in this, why I get to the Atlanta side. They've also gone on the road and won a big game in Pittsburgh against what many people believe, is the first or second best team in the NFL.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I know.
I mean, clearly they didn't have the quarterback.
Well, they did. They didn't have their quarterback,
and they were winning 59.5 minutes of the game. I mean, it's hard to look at that Baltimore win in Pittsburgh and make that the case that Baltimore's one of the top 2 or 3 teams in football.
But the way they ended up doing it, driving against the Steeler defense when the backs were
40 yards. I mean, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is, listen, the line in that game was like pick, or I think Pittsburgh might have been a slight favorite. but like won. So it was pick the winner. The fact they won the game is that mean they overperformed. I agree, but it was by the slimmest of margins.
Right. They did go into New England also for one of their 2 losses. They had New England on the ropes. They were up 10 in the fourth quarter. So this team is fundamentally sound. The only time that I think that some people look at Baltimore is I think they play to the level of their competition. And whenever, they played a bad game against Buffalo, they were lucky to beat Buffalo. But I'm going to go back to this Atlanta Falcon team. People are going to look last week, and they're going to say they barely got by Tampa Bay. They had to have a goal line stand at the end of the game to preserve that win 27-21 against Tampa Bay. But I look at it differently. They were coming off their bye week, and I know a lot of people say, well, that's even more reason that Tampa Bay should have been even, had a better performance coming off the bye. I look at bye weeks in the NFL. When you go into the bye on a roll, it's like a timeout in a basketball game. It's a momentum stopper. You're stopping your streak. Plus the fact they knew that they had to come back in 4 days and play this game. This is a big game. A lot of people, this could be
a bigger game than the interdivisional game.
If
Atlanta loses that game, and then Tampa has the next game at home, the division's in serious question.
The division's in serious, but if you're going to make that next step and be a serious Super Bowl contender, this is the type of team you have to beat.
And you have to beat Tampa Bay, too.
You have to beat Tampa Bay, too, but they did beat them.
But that's the thing. They won the game. I mean, the NFL, I think we've seen now, we've heard about parity for a long time. We're to the point, if you win the game, you've done well in most spots. I don't think you got to spend too much time explaining why Atlanta underperformed last week. At most, they underperformed by 3 or 4 points. I mean, if they end up winning that game, if they were up 11 late instead of 7, that plays at the goal line wouldn't have mattered. They would have either won by 11 or 4. So they might have underperformed by a field goal. I think we don't even think about that. The question is, well, let me make your case for you, because I think we're getting off on stuff that doesn't matter. You're thinking Atlanta's almost as good as Baltimore. You're thinking that because this is a statement game, that there's going to be a frenzied crowd, similar to what the Saints had against the Steelers. And you figure Baltimore's traveling on a short week, and you're picking the winner.
Picking the winner, and then I'm going to
love it.
Well, I'm going to put one other factor in, and you've heard me use the teaser handicap. If you sit and look at this game, and because of the way Baltimore plays and the way Atlanta doesn't generally blow people out, if you do the 7-point teaser here and take Baltimore to 8, that just looks really, really good. I don't think anybody would expect Atlanta to blow this Baltimore team out.
And with you, if the teaser looks too good to be true, you want to go the other way.
Absolutely.
But again, I think this is a value play, is you got a team that may be almost as good. I mean, let's just say for the sake of argument, Baltimore's a point or 2 better. And I'm not sure that's true, but let's say it is true. And it probably is. So let's say it is true. One, the fact that you've got a -1 here is you're off a 3, because if the teams were even, it would be 3. So coming off a 3 is key. So that's advantage Atlanta, because all points are not created equal, and coming off a 3 is key, right? Number 2, the 2 days around, you play Sunday. Right. And then you are traveling, and again, Miami, though they didn't perform well, as a physical team. Your whole schedule's messed up. I mean, this is unlike any other circumstance. And you're probably going to have more home field with the Falcons, and this will be one of the top 7 games in the whole season for home field advantage.
Right.
I love it.
That's why I'm making it a best bet. I have Atlanta winning 27-17. I have them winning by 10 points. And Matt Ryan to make that record 18-1 straight up at home.
All right.
Coupon.
Oh, okay. Now, with one of our best bets each week, we give a coupon away, and we usually do it with the earlier best bet, since this is a Thursday game. Marco?
Well, college basketball started this week, so to get basketball in everybody's minds, we're going to make the coupon the word hoops and the number 10. Just spell out hoops and a number 10 behind it, and you'll pick up $10. Enter it in the coupon code when you check out, and if the package happens to only be $10, it's free.
All right. Now it's your turn to continue the conversation in the comments section. And next up, we're going to be talking about the other Thursday night game in college, or this one's in college, Pitt at Connecticut on ESPN.